Mark Gerard is the head of concept design at BMW, and they're introducing an X7 concept. And Mark, it looks like this could be the king of bling.
Yeah, it's a bit the story behind it. Yeah, this car is very important to us because it very established our strategy entering the GKL Plus segment. On stage we have two cars. We have the BMW Concept 8 Series that we launched in Villa d'Este, and this is the second chapter, so to say, of this strategy. This is very new for BMW, entering the mega SUV area, and I think it fits very well to our BMW strategy about entering the luxury segment.
And this is a very formal kind of design that you've got, and why did you decide to go that route?
I would say to describe the car, two words are quite appropriate around that. It's prestige and presence. Mm-hmm. Presence, I think this is the perspective which tells a lot about this vehicle. We have a very upfront front of the car with very present kidneys. Those are the biggest kidneys we ever made.
Ever.
Right? And tells exactly what this car is all about. It's all about presence, about being the boss. The X5 is already the boss, but this one is the boss on top of the boss.
The uber boss.
The upper boss, the mega boss.
Yeah.
And
I noticed too, you've got these very straight vertical lines, very flat front to the grille. Again, I'm sure to give it that presence.
Absolutely. It's making the car is in proportions very much present, but we enhance this presence even more with detailed designs as the very upright and very massive kidneys. There's a lot of verticality also within the car, in the front, on the side view with the finishers, on the rear, so the uprightness basically tells a lot about what we want to achieve with this car.
One other thing that I noticed too, these A-pillars are fairly thin. Would you be able to do something like this in production?
Okay, this design is actually previewing the production car that we're going to launch next year. There's always some little enhancements we do for concept vehicles, but in terms of proportions, I have to say, when the production car is going to come, you will really be able to recon it. There's one topic I want to say. We have presence, definitely, but this is still a BMW, so we have to get a certain kind of agility to it. And the lightness that we have in the A-post as well as on the interior that we're going to capture a little bit later on is very important to us, showing that this is a BMW, it has a lot of presence, but it's a BMW, so it has a lot of dynamic also in this segment.
The other thing too is it seems to have a fairly low belt line. You have a very tall glass area. It must be very airy inside.
That's the goal. I mean, it's a big car, obviously. As you can see, we want to convey a lot of room filling inside the car in terms of dimensions, but also as well as perception. So we did everything to enhance the perception of room within the vehicle. The lower belt line, I mean, low belt line, you know, it's quite
still high. Yeah.
It's still very high, but the height of the glass is definitely playing this role, as well as the roof that you can see here, which is completely open with also a very thin structural element we have on top of the roof, enhancing the vision uprightness is the whole thing about it.
Right, let's take a look at the rear here as well. Oh, well, before we do, we got to talk about the door handles. You've hidden them. That's very typical on concept cars, so I would not expect to see this in production.
We'll see.
We'll see? Okay. And again, continuing this very vertical theme that you've got these air extractors on.
Exactly. So basically the height of the vehicle is definitely there. We have a very harmonious play with horizontality, as you can see the lamps, basically connecting in the middle with this very thin light strap. It's not a reflection, that's really a very thin light strap, which is like enhancing the width of the car, and also very much harmonically combined with vertical elements with those finishes here.
What I like is how thin these lights are, and yet as thin as they are, you don't have a lot of dead space in this design.
Absolutely not. And as you can see in this design, exactly like on the 8 Series, this is a new era of BMW design. So you will recount there are less lines, but the lines we have there are extremely precise, and the volumes are very much enhanced. So we have a lot of more emotionality in the volume of the car. We call it precision and poetry. So precision about the lines, which are like super sharp, less lines but very precise, and poetry is bringing emotion into the volumes. And also in such a massive presence vehicle, there's a lot of like subtlety in the form language. There's a lot of muscles on the body side that basically tells a lot about what is the next step of the BMW design that you're going to see next year on the streets.
I love these subtle lines that you've got in here, you know. Unless you really look at it, you don't pick up on it at first.
It's kind of a second read. The first read is one big gesture, and then the closer you look, you have the second read. And that's the second factor about what I said, presence and prestige. Prestige, luxury, I always say the difference between a premium and a luxury car, those are the last 3%. Right?
I love that line. I've not heard that before.
And you see, if you look closer, the second read, you know, all the parts that are seen as chrome or as metal, they're all full metal in this vehicle. And we always have a very delicate play between pearl glass milled and etched and polished surfaces. So you basically get a kind of a like very second, third read, love to the detail. That's the prestige about it. And those kind of details, they are everywhere, exterior, everywhere in interior. And this is, in our opinion, humble opinion, what really brings the luxury, the prestige approach to this vehicle.
Can we open up the door?
Sure.
And take a look inside?
Takes a bit of while, it's electric. Here we go.
So you just swipe the door open. I love that. Now that's
prestige.
That's prestige.
That's really
no
prestige.
Question.
So the interior has, first of all, what you're going to recon, what is very subtle, and what we talk about harmony. You're going to see that the exterior paint, which is Manhattan metallic, is like mirroring into the inside of the leather, which has a kind of a gold reflection to it, which is very similar to the reflect you have on the others. This is very subtle. You're going to see that at the second read, but it brings a very cohesive harmony between exterior and interior. It's very important to us.
It's very subtle, and yet you're right. It is, as soon as the light changes, you really pick up on that.
You really
highlight.
pick up on that. Very subtle. What I said about lightness, this is very important. The interior it's a big car, it's a big dashboard, but you're gonna see that it's very light-footed. It's almost like hovering over the floor, and this is very important to us. That's BMW Interior Design. What you're gonna recon, which is very new on this generation, is that the FPK, so the screen behind the steering wheel, and the middle screen, they're almost connected, but they're not like one plane. They're clearly driver-oriented, so we definitely always have a driver orientation. This is BMW. This is a very interesting topic because we always reinvent driver orientation since when we introduced it on the 635 CSI in the 70s, right? And there's always new chapters to this book, and this is actually quite an important one, that the screen in the middle is slightly tilted, but very much combined to the one behind the steering wheel to create a kind of a compound of informations.
Well, very interesting. I think that you've really achieved what you set out to do. This has got prestige and presence. And I can't wait to see when something like this is actually available on sale.
It's going to be 2018. That's
2018.
the only thing that I
Okay.
can say.
Okay. Very good. Mark, thanks so much for your time
You're more
today.
than welcome.
Very interesting presentation.
You're more than welcome. Have a great day
Thank
today
you.
in Frankfurt.
Thank you.